Letting go. John Kabat-Zinn likes to explain one of his 9 attitudes of mindfulness, letting go, by giving the following example. They say that in India there is a particularly clever way of catching monkeys. As the story goes, hunters will cut a hole in a coconut that is just big enough for the monkey to put its hand through. Then they will drill 2 small holes in the other end, pass a wire through, and secure the coconut to the base of a tree. Then they slip a banana inside the coconut through the hole and hide. The monkey comes down, puts his hand in, and takes hold of the banana. The hole is cleverly crafted so that the open hand can go in, but the fist cannot get out. All the monkey has to do to be free is to let go of the banana. But it seems most monkeys don't let go. This illustrates quite well how we humans often keep ourselves prisoners for fear of losing things which don't even belong to us. Our well-being and happiness and our very survival depend on external circumstances and on what the world can offer to us. We have evolved to look for things which sustain us and to derive joy and pleasure from what we find, at the same time keeping our eyes open just in case we find something even better. It is also quite understandable from the evolutionary perspective to feel anxious about whether our needs will be met, and when they aren't, to feel frustrated, upset, angry, and so on. But life is not a vending machine which always gives us what we want when we want it. As adults, we come to experience that the life circumstances we get are more like changing seasons and weather events. Trying to ask for whatever treat we want only sets up for frustration and disillusionment. And calling the manager usually makes things even worse. But just like with the weather, our experience of the circumstances is a matter of how prepared we are, how we react, and how well we are able to adapt to whatever happens. There is a classic quote by Yamamoto Tsunetomo, who wrote Hagakure, The Way of the Samurai. There is something to be learned from a rainstorm. When meeting with a sudden shower, you try not to get wet and run quickly along the road. But doing such things as passing under the eaves of houses, you still get wet. When you are resolved from the beginning, you will not be perplexed, though you will still get the same soaking. This understanding extends to everything. Nowadays, when the world has so much to offer and we have so much freedom to choose the kind of things, impressions, and relationships we want, we can easily get tangled in our desires and plans, turning them into our fetters. And when life threatens some of our desires and plans, we are so busy fighting against the circumstances that we forget that all of the desires that bind us are of our own creation. These are just things that we conjured up for ourselves, copy-pasted onto our life and identity from whatever we have encountered. Hopes and fears are always about things and situations from the future. And it is especially in the moments when our hopes are challenged and our fears are about to come true that we tend to exaggerate them, to imbue them with disproportionate importance. Life circumstances can be seen as seasons and weather events of our lives. Trying to become masters of them, we risk becoming their slaves. It gets even more difficult when the changing life circumstances have to do with our bodies, our health and physical ability, our emotional reactions and feelings, and even some of our behaviors and drives. These are things we associate with us, with our own selves. We construct identities around these things. We take and bear responsibility for them. And seldom do we think of them as parts of the natural world, chaotic, unpredictable, threatening, and yet so astonishingly complex and profoundly wise. If you take a moment to realize how deeply we, our whole selves, in our external and internal circumstances, are conditioned by nature, it will probably send a chill down your spine. It takes courage to imagine your hopes dissolve, your fears become reality, but it can be compared to a season progressing towards your least favorite one, and to the weather suddenly changing from sunshine and nice colors into a ruthless storm. If you dare, imagine the storm which you couldn't predict and have no control of, to strip away string by string all the bondage you have spun around you. And you know that if you grabbed onto the strings you had so carefully chosen to bind yourself with, the storm would drag you all over the place. And if you let go of them, you'd realize how free you've been all this time. Some strings have grown so deeply into our skin, our flesh, that feeling them torn away can be unbearable. But after the pain comes the kind of lightness, flexibility, and spaciousness you were unable to see when you were so cozy in your bondage. A destruction of one beautiful thing sometimes comes with the growth of a new one. The storm may destroy what you have so carefully been constructing in your past. It can ruin the crops which you have been sowing for the future. But that very moment you are in is yours alone. No storm can take it away. So live it, hold it, allow it. Allow yourself to be bewildered by its magnificence. At such stormy moments, you may come to realize that actually you'll be okay. Just because actually, on some level, all of us always are, regardless of what seems to be happening. And it is only when we manage to let go in our heart of all the strings, all the bittersweet bondage, all the hopes and fears, all the instances and manifestations of the ever-changing, uncontrollable, natural world which we grew accustomed to seeing as ourselves, only then does it become evident to us that we are not any of that. When all is taken away from you, you are the only thing that remains. Whether we like it or not, whether we are prepared for it or not, we have to let go of things, people, situations, some attributes of our bodies, and eventually even all of our bodies. But that doesn't mean letting go has to be tragic. Letting go doesn't mean not having. It doesn't mean not wanting, not dreaming, not enjoying, and not acting reasonably to make your life better. Quite the opposite, actually. Just like we appreciate sunshine when we did not expect it, and like we may sometimes even enjoy getting soaked in the rain when we could not escape it. When we let go, we are able to live more fully, more wisely, and with a greater meaning and joy. Letting go doesn't mean running away from strings that bind you, for it becomes a type of bondage in and of itself. It doesn't mean fighting against your natural conditioning, for that is a fight with no winner. Letting go means knowing that your true nature is priceless, so that you don't trade it for petty things. And knowing that your true nature is always yours, so that you don't have to fear that someone may take it away. Letting go means dropping off the blinkers and the bridle to see that under any circumstances you are just as free as you choose to be.